Good morning to everyone. I thank you all for joining us today. It is indeed a great pleasure and my privilege to welcome all of you to this today national seminar on socio-political dynamics in Telangana state. We will start today's session with recitation of verses from the Holy Quran. I request Zahid Kamal to please come onto the dais for recitation of Quranic verses, followed by translation in English. Zahid.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والتين والزيتون وطور سينين وهذا البلد الأمين لقد خلقنا الإنسان في أحسن تقويم ثم رددناه أسفل سافلين إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات فلهم أجر غير ممنون فما يكذبك بعد بالدين أليس الله بأحكم الحاكمين कसम है इंजीर की, कसम है ज़ैतून की और कसम है इस अमन वाले शहर की। यकीनन हमने इंसान को बेहतरीन सांचे में डाला, फिर उसको बुरी से बुरी हालत में पहुंचा दिया, सिवाय उन लोगों के जिन्होंने ईमान लाया और नेक आमाल किए, तो उनके लिए कभी न ख़त्म होने वाला अजर होगा। फिर ए इंसान, तुमको कौन सी चीज़ क़यामत के दिन को झुटलाने पे मजबूर करती है? क्या अल्लाह सब हुक्मरानों से बड़ा हुक्मरान नहीं है? सदक़ल्लाहुल अज़ीम।
Thank you, Zahid. Now I request our students to welcome our guests with bouquet. I request Iftikhar to present a bouquet to Professor Ensu Kumar. Iftikhar. I request Parveen to present a bouquet to Professor Ishtiaq Ahmed sir, our registrar. Next, I request Ijaz Ahmed to please present a bouquet to Professor Farida Siddiqui ma'am, our dean. Next, I request Noor Fatima to present a bouquet to Professor J. Har Gopal. I request Arshia Kausar to present a bouquet to our Vice Chancellor, Sir, Professor Sayyid Ainul Hassan. Thank you very much, sir. Now I request Professor Nageshwar Rao, sir, the person who has been thoroughly engrossed with all nitty-gritties and details that went into making of this seminar, as the coordinator to please come and welcome everyone. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, Muzaffar Sahab. Assalamu alaikum. Good morning. I extend a warm welcome to all of you on behalf of the Organizing Committee of the National Seminar on Socio-Political Dynamics in Telangana. The Department of Political Science, Maulana Azad National Urdu University has proposed this seminar 1 month ago, and now it is materialized today. So we are honored to have with us today our esteemed chief guest, Honorable Vice Chancellor Professor Syed Ainul Hasan Saab, whose presence here greatly enhances the significance of this seminar. We are also privileged to be joined by our guests of honor, Professor Farida Siddiqui, Dean School of Arts and Social Sciences, Professor S.K. Istiaq Ahmed Saab, Registrar MANUU, and Professor Afroz Alam Saab, Seminar Director, Special Invitee Professor Sukumar Narayana, Delhi University, and today's distinguished keynote speaker, Professor G. Haragopal Garu. Your wisdom and insights will undoubtedly enrich our discussions today. I would like to acknowledge the presence of deans of all schools of MANUU, heads of the departments, paper presenters, participants, and dedicated teachers, fraternity of MANUU, especially School of Arts and Social Sciences, and the enthusiast students who have made this seminar possible. Your contribution and participation are crucial in making this event a success. The seminar promises to be a platform for in-depth discussions, analysis, and sharing of knowledge on the socio-political dynamics in Telangana, a region of a great historical and contemporary significance. We hope that the insights and ideas generated here today and tomorrow will contribute to a better understanding of the challenges and opportunities facing in Telangana. Once again, I extend hearty welcome to all the dignitaries on the dais and off the dais, and I am confident that this seminar will be a fruitful and enriching experience for all. Thanks for joining us for the inaugural session and technical sessions. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Professor Nagesh. Coming from Department of Political Science, I must state that the broader objective of discipline of political science is to understand political processes, institutions, and governance. A more specified objective in that regard would be to bring that pursuit closer home. Here, this seminar broadening our horizon of understanding of Telangana fits perfectly with our pursuit. While Professor Nagesh dealt with nitty-gritties, Professor Afroz was the hand giving final touch to making of this seminar and has been thoroughly the main source of guidance. Now I invite Professor Afroz to come onto dais for introduction of the seminar. Please.
The President of this inaugural session, Honorable Vice Chancellor, our esteemed scholar, Professor G. Hargopal, our Dean, Professor Farida Siddiqui, Professor Sukuma, our Registrar, Professor Ishtiaq Saab, my friends and colleagues sitting off the dais, students, ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning. And it gives me immense pleasure to introduce the theme of our national seminar today. The theme is the socio-political dynamics in Telangana state. This is not just the topic for academic discussion, but a reflection of the rich tapestry of the events, movements, transformations that have shaped the youngest state of our nation. To appreciate the socio-political dynamics of the state, we must first delve into its history. Originally a princely state under the Nizams, the Telangana has a legacy steeped in a unique blend of cultures, language, and traditions. It merges with the Indian Union in 1948 and subsequently with the Andhra state in 1956, shaped a myriad of socio-political narratives. The things which we will be covering during this 2-day seminar is the first question of a demand for statehood. And in that aspect, what we plan is that the quest for a separate state was not born overnight. It was the result of years of perceived neglect, underdevelopment, and a yearning for a distinct identity. The movement for statehood, which reached its crescendo in the early 21st century, was a testament to the collective will of the people of Telangana. Their struggles, sacrifices, and the eventual formation of the state in 2014 have profoundly impacted the socio-political landscape. The second aspect which we are going to deal as part of the technical sessions would be the cultural identity and social fabric of Telangana. The Telangana, with its rich folk traditions, festivals like Bonalu and Batukama, and distinct dialect, has always had a unique cultural identity. The socio-political dynamics here have invariably intervened with these cultural issues, leading to a vivid play of a regional pride and aspirations. The third aspect which we'll be covering in the technical session would be the current socio-political landscape in Telangana. As we know that today, as we stand here, the Telangana is at the cusp of change. Rapid urbanization, especially in cities like Hyderabad, is just opposed with the rural realities of the hinterlands. The challenges of modernization, employment, water resources, and more importantly, the integration of regional and national aspirations are shaping the political discourse. The third aspect, in fact, the fourth aspect would be the future trajectory of the state. As we look ahead, the state's socio-political dynamics will undoubtedly be influenced by technological advancements, economic policies, and the aspirations of its youths. It will be exciting to observe how Telangana, with its unique identity, navigates these waters, balancing both tradition and modernity. As we know that the political dynamics of the country is to be studied, and it is the first task of the political scientists to delve into the nitty-gritty of the political institutions, processes, and the electoral aspects as well. So we will be throwing our light into understanding the electoral politics of Telangana in the broader national and global context. Finally, the socio-political dynamics in Telangana is a reflection of its people's spirit, their struggles, dreams, and their aspirations for a better tomorrow. This seminar provides a platform for us to dissect, discuss, and deliberate on these dynamics. Let us embark on this intellectual journey together and contribute to shaping the narrative of this vibrant theme. So thank you everyone for joining us, and most welcome from my side as well. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for that introduction. Now we are aware of the broader framework of the seminar, and next 2 days are going to be a great learning experience in that direction. However, today this event itself, it's with such a decorated panel of guests and the diversity of experiences they bring, the session itself promises to be a lifetime event of learning. In that context, owing to paucity of time, I would be as brief as possible in my brief appearances as the usher of the event. Our first guest speaker today is Professor N. Sukumar, who is one of the finest exponent of human rights and Indian political thinking. Professor Sukumar has authored several books on themes of exclusion, discrimination. I request sir to please come on the dais for his address. Over to you, sir.
First of all, thank you so much for university and also particularly to the Department of Political Science and dignitaries on the dais, Afroz Bhai, Nagesh Rao and other colleagues from the department and students. Indeed, it's very pleasure to come and interact with institutions of higher learning where a lot of churning that is happening and where we are engaged in our daily activities, where we try to see that our daily activities is nothing to do with political aspects, And in fact, every human being is a political being. So in that context, how do we see the entire discourse of the socio-political dynamics of Telangana state today? Or can we understand the today's Telangana with 10 years before when Telangana state has been formed? And what would be the next another 10 years of Telangana, how one can shape, reshape, and and in the process how we introspect and think about what is the role of intellectuals, the role of institutions, the role of individuals, the role of students, the role of media, a number of stakeholders within the university. Of course, it is the idea is a very interesting idea which it is coming at the right time. Therefore, I really congratulate and acknowledge that Afroz Bhai and his team has picked up a very interesting theme to seriously think about where do we stand today, where we were 10 years before, and where do we stand today, or where does Telangana, which has been aspired for a particular purpose, is being, we stand today. There was a lot of issues that has been debated, deliberated. In fact, from 1991, when I was part of, as a student in Hyderabad University, when there was a lot of debates that happened while at that point of time only, that how the regional dynamics within the state has showed a different kind of trajectory, that it is necessary for a particular region people who have been completely neglected in the context of employment, in the context of education, in a number of contexts. So we nurtured with the idea of what is the idea of development? Can development understood in the context of sub-regional context within the region, and not only sub-regional context within the state? Therefore, Telangana becomes a very important concern even from that point of time. And then partly, because we were all partly nurtured with different kind of academic discourse and also social movements. This generation, 1990s, that generation was part and parcel of different kind of social movements where it has shaped the young, the next generation to think and act accordingly. Even in the context of academic, and even there is nothing called apolitical. Everything is political for that matter. So the socio-cultural, economic and political vision that when the Telangana state has been formed was a very interesting concerns. There were intellectuals, there were political groups, there were a lot of institutions, all kinds of institutions, educational institutions. There are a lot of cultural teams that has vibrated. The movement was so vibrant that it has given life. The intellectual tradition of Telangana intellectuals. Either I don't want to name any particular group here. There are different kind of intellectual traditions which has given life to the Telangana state. It was a struggle. It was a long agitation. There was sacrifices. 1,200 people losing life is not a small thing. So there was, this kind of aspiration that, Telangana has comes in. And looking into in this, what are the indicators that which one can see? We need to see not only the socio-political dynamics, but also we need to, in the process, probably I think there would be the economic dimension, the political economy that has been a major concern when Telangana state has been formed. So we also need to understand to the present, the economic trajectory of the state. Does it really helping the Samajika Telangana that has been dreamt by the visionaries? The Samajika Telangana. Then, where do we stand? In fact, I did mention about that. And the identity which has led the agitation with other kind of interests. Now, whether still that identity is prevailing, whether this still the pride of that Telangana identity is prevailing or not. If not, why? What is the other factors that are encroaching into this identity? and trying to derail the vision that has been, paved. And so this kind of, as I said, the Samajika Telangana with the vision of social justice. Social justice is a major concern. Justice with social justice for different marginalized groups, Dalits, tribal, women, minorities. All these have become an important segment for post-Telangana developmental agenda. Irrigation, different kind of, things. I'm not getting more into this economic, concerns, because of the paucity of time. So I'll just finish within, 5 minutes, because I'm not supposed to be a speaker here. Professor Hargopal sir is there, and he would be the one who is part and parcel of this movement. And he's the one, with different kind of, groups, who worked for separate Telangana. He's the authority to speak much on this. So this tradition, the tradition of identity, the tradition of separate identity, or even intellectual tradition of this particular state, where does, like for example, 3-4 things which I would like to highlight, and I was looking for some data on Telangana to write a piece. And data is very important to understand the development indicators, So therefore, data, apart the other agencies, I was not able to track any data from the government side, which is a very surprising thing for me. The government, which is supposed to place that, look, this is what we have achieved for the past 2 terms, and therefore we want the development agenda to be much more, inclusive, whatever it may be. Unemployment. The promise that has been made. So therefore, the socio-political dynamics will be shaped by these kind of, social concerns, social issues. Like, for example, unemployment, illiteracy. Okay? And, of course, there is an increase of, violence on Dalits. When you are coming out with a vision of social justice, the state which forms in the context of social justice and denial of, equality. Now, denial of equality, atrocities on Dalits, tribals are being increased. And also violence on women. So, if a state with a vision of justice comes in, and that's a people's, movement. It's like not one particular leader or one particular this credit doesn't goes to one particular cultural aspect, one particular social aspect. It is a collective agitation that has brought, Telangana. So where does this, groups, stand today? What is their number? What is their, and what kind of, development benefits that these people has been guaranteed? So therefore, when I was looking for the data, I saw the data district-wise liquor revenue. District-wise liquor revenue than any other, not much data. So the tragedy is this. Like, how you try to exploit the entire poor community in the name of, when you are trying to, give the benefits, but also again you are taking back. Now, the last point which I would like to mention. What is, now we know that, we are at the crossroads, I'm telling, honestly. 10 years or even maybe, whatever, the time frame that has been for any, it can be regime or it can be anything, that, you need to prove that what you have promised to the people. If you don't promise, then people will seriously think. So what would be the next 10 years of agenda of the socio-political dynamics? There is a continuous change. If you see, if you listen the dynamics that are changing, the political dynamics that are changing in everyday context in Telangana when electoral politics comes in. But it is sad that we have a political dynamic, we are involved into political dynamics whenever elections comes. No. The political dynamics need to be continuous. So that, you can create an inclusive society where there will be healthy debates and discussions about what need to be the agenda of the next generations. These generations, your next generations should not curse the present, intellectual tradition that what has this generation has left for us. That is a major concern now which we need to seriously think. I think with all these kind of, idea, Afroz bhai, I am sure that, you have some idea how to build next another 10 years is the idea. I think, these 2 days deliberations, probably it will go on. And thank you very much for giving me this opportunity again to come and, share my ideas with you. Thank you so much.
Now I request Professor S.K. Ishtiaq sir, our registrar Saab, to come on dais. Sir is one of the best mind on Persian literature in India. Academically, he is situated at crossroad of political ideas. Over to you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable Vice Chancellor sir, our keynote speaker, Professor Hargopal sahab, eminent social scientist, Professor Shiv Kumar sahab from Department of Political Science, University of Delhi, our Dean, Professor Farida Siddiqui, Professor A. Nageshwar Rao, and the Head of the Department and Director of the seminar, Dr. Afroz Alam sahab. Indeed, it's a great moment that the Department of Political Science, School of Social Science is organizing this 2-day national seminar on socio-political dynamics in Telangana state. The topic is very relevant, especially when that election is taking place in the state. But one thing is very clear when I discuss with Professor Afroz Alam sahab, that it has nothing to do with election. This should be kept in the mind because the moral code of the conduct is in place. So it's nothing to do and we can discuss things freely. Of course, topic is very meaningful and relevant as it's focusing on socio-political dynamics, intervention of various social groups, especially the educated masses, academicians, and our young scholars. Good number of scholars, noted political scientists are part of this 2-day national seminar. Various topics within the parameter of socio-political dynamics will be seriously deliberated upon. And as I can see that there are 4 technical sessions and subtopics identified by the organizer of the seminars and the participants are really very important and meaningful. I am thrilled to see that Department of Political Science, Maulana Azad National Urdu University, is engaging the experts, noted political scientists, and young scholars to ensure that the social political dynamics are thoroughly discussed and the social justice is ensured. Wish you best. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you, sir. Our next speaker is Professor Farida Siddiqui, our Dean. She has been at the forefront and an important source of motivation for all our academic pursuits. Under her guidance, we have seen unfolding of series of dialogues both within and among the various disciplines of social sciences. As an academic, her expertise moves beyond the frontier of discipline of economics. Her contribution is immense to field of social exclusion and inclusive policy studies. I request you, ma'am, please, for your address.
The Honorable Vice Chancellor of the University, Professor Ainul Hassan, today's distinguished speaker, Professor Hargopal, Professor Sukumar, who has come from Delhi University, the Registrar of the University, Professor Ishtiaq Ahmed, the Head of the Political Science Department, Professor Afroz Alam, the convener of today's program, Professor Nageshwar Rao, my colleagues sitting on the other side of the table, the participants, I extend very warm good morning to all of you present here. At the outset, I'm deeply honored to be standing here as the guest of honor in my own school. I feel extremely privileged today because I'm sharing the platform with none other than Professor Hargopal Garu, who has been a sort of inspiration to all of us, who has been guiding us, and we have been, many generations have been growing by attending his lectures. Thank you very much, sir, for accepting our invitation and coming here to deliver the keynote speech today in this seminar. I express my appreciation to the head of the department, the dynamic head from the Department of Political Science, and my old friend, Professor Nageshwar, the convener of this program, for giving us the opportunity to learn and understand the socio-political dynamics of Telangana state. The theme of the program, the seminar, is actually very apt in today's scenario. We need to understand the economics behind politics, you know, when we get the opportunity. While going through the various sub-themes, all the sub-themes are very important, but as a student of economics, two sub-themes were very interesting for me. One is political economy. So political economy is very important because it plays a crucial role in shaping the future of the nations and in changing the lives of the individuals, of the citizens of the nations. So you know, it is a subject which provides us a fusion of economics, politics, and society. Now, since the Department of Political Science is organizing this program, so let me begin with politics. This is the responsibility of the politics to create more employment opportunities, for instance, in the society. Because we are in the university, we will talk about the employment opportunities. First, obviously, after getting education from the university, you all are going to the labor market or to the business. So we need resources to allocate for on various heads. So creating employment opportunities is part of the politics, and allocation of resources is part of economics. And whether the resources are being distributed equally among various sections of the society is nothing but society. It is sociology. So political economy is very important. So the center point is the resources. Here, the role of the politics, the governance is very important. I would like to give the example of our university here. So as the dean, whenever I go to the Vice Chancellor Sahab, I have lot of demands in my kitty to Vice Chancellor Sahab, and he is part of the governance, and he is somebody who is actually allocating the resources because there are many schools and there are many programs and there are many issues to be addressed. So allocation of resources is happening in such a way that he is allocating resources to each and every minutest segment of the university. Like he's allocating resources not only developing the infrastructure. Allocation of resources is happening to even development of the ponds, the roads, the parks, the hostels, the water bodies, and for teaching, for the seminar rooms, for even the research. So the resources, I would say that here in the university, the political economy is perfectly in shape because the allocation of resources is being done efficiently. But then we need many, but then we need more resources, because as a student of economics, I know and we all know that we have unlimited wants. So we keep going to them, and they keep requesting the people at the top, and then this is how the governance has to work. That shows the priorities. For allocating the resources, whether the resources are going to be allocated to the development of the institutions, the hospitals, the infrastructure, and all that. Another important sub-theme which I find very interesting is the gender, religion, and caste. Since we are talking a lot about the people who are in power, and how the allocation of resources is being done, and which segment of the population should be getting the resources the most, is reflected in this theme. Here I would like to raise a very important topic. Professor Sukumar also was talking about the lack of the data. When I was trying to dig into the data, Professor Sukumar is right, we were not getting the data on Telangana state. I think Telangana being a very young state, there must be some dearth of the data, but then I got the data which is regarding the representation of the gender in the state assembly. Here I would like to share with you is that the male population, the proportion of male population in the total population in the country is around 51%, sorry, in the state is around 51%, whereas their representation in the assembly is 76%. The female population is around 48% in Telangana, whereas their representation in the state assembly is only 7%. So there is a stark gender imbalance in the representation in the assembly in the Telangana state. Another important point which is mentioned here is the religion. Here I would like to share with you is that the share of minority population in Telangana state is around 12 to 13%, and they are around 7% in the assembly. So again, I must confess here that the minorities, particularly Muslim minority, is better off in Telangana state as compared to the states like Bihar and UP Madhya Pradesh and the states like that. So we are actually a bit better off than others, but since we are talking about the socio-political dynamics, we cannot ignore the fact that each segment of the population is not representing in the same proportion in the Telangana state. So the platforms like these give us the opportunity that we should try to create a gender inclusive environment in the state. We should try to create we should try to promote the inclusion of the Dalits, the minorities, the gender more in a bigger way more. Because then only we will be able to truly supporting the idea of or understanding the idea of socio-economic or socio-political dynamics of the state. I hope that in this seminar the deliberations would be in such a manner that Professor Afroz Alam would be able to submit a very important suggestion for policy formulation to the state of to the state government, so that some concrete plan may be introduced for the inclusion of the gender, of the Dalits, of the minorities in the state. I wish you all the best for the seminar, and thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Our keynote speaker for today, Professor G. Hargopal, needs no introduction. In fact, Madam herself has introduced and spoke a lot about Sir. Sir has nurtured generation of scholars at institutions like University of Hyderabad and TIS. He has made immense contribution to craft of politics, both as an academic and as member of civil society. His experiences represents a unique combination of theory and practice. Sir, I invite you to deliver the keynote address, which is definitely going to set the tone for this conference.
Honorable Vice Chancellor, the presiding officer of this function, and other colleagues, Professor Sukumar from Delhi University, then Professor Ishaq Ahmad, Registrar, Madam Farida, and friends. I do not know where to start, where to stop, because I have been too close to this entire development process. I was too deeply involved in Telangana movement and ended up as one of the bitter critics of Telangana. Therefore, when I was asked to give this keynote address, I was thinking and rethinking what goes well with a university, what limits one should observe while giving a keynote address, so that you do not drag university into any controversy, because people like me can cause a lot of controversies. But I also have been an academic. So what I'll do is that I think Madam Farida ji mentioned about political economy, because she is an economist. And I am supposed to be teaching political science. But Madam, I may tell you that for quite some time I taught a paper in University of Hyderabad, Political Economy of Andhra Pradesh. I used to offer a paper where I used to trace the history of Andhra Pradesh, 400 years of history, what developments have taken place, and how the contemporary Andhra emerged, and how this conflict between Andhra and Telangana region has been there for quite some time. Then for 7 years that I taught in Bangalore National Law School, I was teaching political economy of India for almost 7 years. Only COVID has disrupted. Otherwise, I thought I would teach till I'm 80 and stop. But I had to stop at 78 because thanks to COVID, it disrupted the whole process. And I was not happy with online. So although they were requesting me, I said I would not teach because I taught 55 years. Eye to eye, without student being present, it becomes extremely difficult for any teacher. But still anyway, technology has developed and online teaching has become one part of even the regular teaching. Now the University Grants Commission says that, that's the National Education Policy also says, we have to use technology extensively. Now as far as the state and politics are concerned, if you look at the topics listed out in the seminar, I do not know whether there was any seminar either during the movement or after Telangana formation with such an extensive, debate. The topics I see, hardly there is anything. I wish I had enough of time to attend all the sessions, but we are involved in too many other things. First thing is when you talk of political economy, of course, economy does not figure in your title because it's the socio-political aspects. But as Madam mentioned, without economics, you can't understand politics or society. I believe that there is an interconnection between production, power and culture. And this interface between these three powerful driving forces of any historical process, unless you are able to connect the production process, that's the economy, and politics, that is the power, and the culture, and how they interact, what influences which part of the social life is still a critical point. Marxists would believe that economic processes influence, but liberal theory has a different notion. A lot of debate goes on. But as far as Andhra Pradesh history is concerned, I would not go into all the details, but two important economic developments have shaped the combined state and the division and the Telangana movement and post-Telangana developments. First thing is that the Andhra and Telangana, Telugu-speaking people were a part of one state during the Kakatiya Empire and Vijayanagara Empire. But it was in 1766 that the Andhra, coastal Andhra, was separated from the Telangana, Hyderabad state. And British, because Madras presidency was there, and British wanted that part of Andhra because it's adjacent to Madras, and therefore the entire coastal Andhra went to the Madras presidency, and we were a part of the princely kingdom, Hyderabad state. Now what economic development, very significant development, which continues to guide the political process, is that once Andhra region has become a part of the Madras presidency, it was a part of colonial governance. We were a part of a feudal governance. It's a difference. But the coastal Andhra had very serious problems because they have Krishna Godavari River. Of course, both the rivers traverse through Telangana. They come from Maharashtra, Karnataka, Telangana, and then they go to Andhra. Andhra is the last state, then the rivers join the ocean. This is the trajectory. Now, Krishna River enters through Mahbubnagar district, to which I belong, most backward district of Telangana. And Godavari also enters the Andhra region through Telangana. Now, the coastal Andhra had a problem because of drainage. Either there are floods and they used to have serious problems with the rivers. And thanks to the British governance and Arthur Cotton, whose statues you find if you go to Godavari and Krishna belt, and there are a number of children who are named after Arthur Cotton, who designed the two anicut across the Krishna and Godavari. This was in 1852. That's before First War of Independence. In 1852, they constructed these two anicut. That has changed the entire political economy of the region. Because once projects are there, you have an assured water and plenty of water. And then the irrigation systems are developed. There is also another interesting thing, that Mekale education, because a lot of land in the coastal Andhra was owned by Brahmins. Brahmins were the only owners because of Agrahara concept. But once English education was introduced, the Brahmins started moving for English education because they believe in lot of rituals and all that. Children can't eat outside, so they moved to Rajahmundry, Machilipatnam, Kakinada, to different places. And the land went into the farming community, that is the Kammas, and partly Reddis. So you find that as the land shifted, of course the Brahmins were still a political force to reckon with. Ailaya is coming, of course he will explain a lot about it. I hope he will touch that, because he is fond of explaining those things. So how Brahmins were controlling and how Brahmins were exploiting it. The Brahmins have taken to English education, and a new community emerged. And Kamma community was never a ruling class. That's also very important. In Parato's circulation, if you look at it, they were never a ruling class. They were always a farming community. It's a very hard-working community, very enterprising community. If you want to understand the politics, you must understand how these communities, Reddis, Kammas, very important communities as far as the politics of. Now, the division, that region became very prosperous, and this region was neglected. In fact, if you have to go by the trajectory of the rivers, the direction of rivers, these two projects should have come in Telangana. If at that particular point of time the political regime was different. Because the rivers, enter through Telangana and then they go to Andhra. That is the last state. And then water goes into the ocean. And between the two rivers, Godavari is the least contested river because there is a lot of water in Godavari. But Krishna, there is a continuous conflict between Karnataka, between Maharashtra, between Telangana. Lot of problems as far as the Krishna river is concerned. And Krishna river is quite exploited. Now, this difference between a community, enterprising community, emerging as a powerful community, and there was a surplus capital which has come from agriculture. Normally, any European development, if you look, first surplus comes from agriculture, then it comes to the industry, then it goes into service sector. That's of course, in our case, it has happened in a reversal way. So the capital has gone to Madras. And the lot of and even Tamilians, given their identity, they would not allow much of investment into industry and all that. And capital found its way into cinema, very interestingly. And Telugu cinema is the most developed. Telugu produces largest cinema in the world, perhaps. 180, 170 cinemas. More than Hindi, although Hindi has a bigger market. So this cultural dimension, is also another part that one has to remember. But another major development, of course, this part remained, and the first state or first region to demand for a linguistic state was Andhra. Very interesting. 1916, they demanded for a linguistic state. They wanted a linguistic state because they knew that the Krishna and Godavari rivers any day will become controversial if Telangana remains a separate region. And therefore, once you have a Telugu identity, then the water going from Telangana may not become so controversial because we are Telugu people, we have an identity, we are a one state, linguistic state. So linguistic state also has its roots in the water. And although the first linguistic state to be formed was Orissa, but the demand came from the Andhra region. Anyway, I will not go into those details. So then, when the linguistic state question came, Telangana region, given the development and given the entrepreneurial nature, and this was more feudal, and while the freedom struggle was going on in Andhra, Telangana armed struggle was going on in Telangana. See, there was a lot of difference. That's why Telangana got our freedom. If one has to develop independence day in Telangana, now it's big controversy going. 17th September 1948. Till then we were still a part of the British, we were not a part of 1947, 15th August. That's why 17th September, you have seen that how BJP has created the controversy. Now whether 17th September, whether it was merger with India, with Indian Union, whether it was, deception, whether, this Vidrohama, Vilinama, Vimochana, whether it is liberation, whether it is integration, whether it is this debate is going on. It will go on for quite some time to come. That whether the merger, the liberation of Hyderabad state from the Asaf Jahi's, Nizam was, but the Indian army entered because the Razakar question was there. I would like to briefly refer to Razakar because that is a very distorted thing is going on. It is true that it was a sort of illegal army floated by Nizam, and these Razakars were of course creating lots of problems, atrocities, all that is there. When we were children, my mother used to, we were 6 children, 6 brothers, 4 sisters, we were 10 children. The most problematic child by my mother was called communist. If the child was more mischievous, she would call Razakar. If the child is well behaved, she would call Congress. See, she was political in that sense. So she would always call me a Congress. My first son is a Congress because this chap is calm, quiet and all that. My second son is a communist. My third son is a Razakar. See, this is the language we heard as children. But I have been writing, I have been arguing. As far as Razakar question is concerned, while they may be an army of Nizam, they were completely funded, sheltered, protected by Hindu landlords. This historical fact is very important. Who supported Razakars? Who protected them? Who sheltered them? And see, this, that's why I was arguing with some of my BJP friends, why do you forget this part? It was Hindus who were the support structure and the Razakars were doing all this. So landlords also were part of this atrocity. They were all Hindus. If you ignore completely Hindus and only talk of Razakars, then you are not explaining the history. But anyway, Indian army entered to control the Razakar, but the real historical fact is they came to control the armed struggle. 4,000 communists were shot dead. That part of the history is there. So Telangana has inherited a long history of struggle. Komaram Bhim, Sammakka Sarakka, then Telangana armed struggle. Then Telangana, separate Telangana, 2 Telangana movements. So Telangana is full of movements at different points of time. So it has inherited certain democratic traditions, struggle traditions. Andhra region had reform movement, Andhra had done freedom struggle. Andhra region also had a very strong communist party. But the Andhra region had a very strong communist party because the Krishna Godavari Anicut once developed, lot of labor went there for the agriculture. So there's a lot of labor concerned in Guntur, Krishna and this part, West Godavari and East Godavari. That's why the first election, 1952 election, Communist Party was to form the government. Because they almost declared their cabinet. Because Telangana had the Communist Party, and of course the Andhra region has a very strong Communist Party, but that's one part of the history. But what has exactly happened is that this linguistic state question, when it came, Nehru was opposed. Nehru was opposed to the linguistic state concept because he thought multilingual states will lead to plural culture, more of living together, And India's unity will depend on a pluralistic culture. If you make linguistic state, it may lead to fragmentation. It may lead to some sort of, Nehru thought that identity politics may be pitted against national identity. But Fazl Ali, who was heading the commission, Fazl Ali said he went round all over country, and then he said the linguistic demand is very strong sentiment among the people, and you can't go against the people's, wish, and therefore he said it is necessary that we go for linguistic state. In 1956, we formed the linguistic state. But 1956 linguistic state was opposed by Telangana people. The merger was not, and therefore there was an entry into a gentleman agreement and all that. It's a part of the history. The gentleman agreement, and Andhra said, no, we'll protect the Telangana regional committee. Regional committee has to pass the budget, the autonomy. That, see, very interestingly, regional committee in Telangana just disappeared. But in Maharashtra, the Vidarbha region has a regional committee. Even now, the budget of the Maharashtra, Vidarbha budget has to go to governor. So when Vidyasagar Rao was the governor, I had to meet him for some, when I went to Tata Institute, I was a faculty there. So twice I met him. I said, why you have accepted governorship? He said, just now. Then he said, no, Maharashtra governor, he said, I have two things. One is tribal development is directly under governor. And second, he said, Vidarbha development is directly under me. I have to pass the budget. So I have to take care of the Vidarbha. At least Maharashtra continued. But Telangana regional committee disappeared. All protections disappeared. So Telangana people had this grievance that, see, our budget, our development has been neglected. And of course, then I think I am just jumping. Another major development which has really led to serious problems is the Green Revolution. Madam, Green Revolution, what difference it made was that once the high-yielding variety Swaminathan is now celebrated, debated and all that, but there was a lot of criticism against Swaminathan when I was in a post-graduation, because the Illustrated Weekly carried 3 articles anti-national Swaminathan, because he gave all the rice variety to Manila Institute and he disappeared from the public life 20 years. Then neoliberalism came, Swaminathan came back. He became Bharat Ratna, his daughter is now WHO and all that. Today Swaminathan is being celebrated. But as a student, I read such a bitter things against Swaminathan, that he has migrated and high-yielding varieties. We did a planning commission project immediately after my MA, and farmers were not accepting high-yielding varieties. No, farmers said, no, it will bring pest, it will bring fertilizer, it will bring, we are happy with our agriculture, this has to be improved. But once Green Revolution came, the farmer lost complete freedom. Agriculture became dependent on market. Earlier it had nothing to do with market. Now you buy, because I come from a farming family. We never bought our whatever the dung and home, the domestic waste, that was the manure. And the bullock power was the, we were drawing water. The farmer did not depend on market for anything to buy. He was a sovereign in one sense. But once Green Revolution came, high-yielding varieties came, and Andhra region became really prosperous. And there was a lot of surplus. And the agriculture, elasticity of agriculture, madam would know, its absorption of capital is not elastic like industry. It has a law of diminishing return operates in agriculture very fast. You can't go on investing in agriculture. No, it won't go. Agriculture has limitations, so always surplus capital has to move. Lot of surplus capital after Green Revolution started moving to Telangana wherever there is water. Nizamabad, Nizam Sagar was there, right? Mahabunar Gadwal area. You look at the map and look at the settlers. They settled wherever there was a water, and they brought the new technology. And therefore, definitely they were more enterprising. That was the time when the capital was moving to the rural Telangana, 1969 Telangana education. Then they said that this region is occupying, rural areas, and that they started becoming powerful. They became MLAs, and the local Telangana people said, what is happening to us? Anyway, this struggle was going on even earlier. Now, the 1969 agitation was a major agitation. Almost 300 boys were killed, and it was a very violent agitation. Then, of course, Mrs. Gandhi was somehow committed that she would not, because she was worried that once she gives Telangana, there are 22 demands even now. After Modi took over, those demands are, otherwise there are still 22 demands for separate states in India. So she thought it will trigger a process of fragmentation, and she said under no condition she would give Telangana, but she would give lot of assurances. That's how University of Hyderabad came. It was a part of the 6-point formula. Gentleman agreement was there. Telangana Regional Committee was there. Nobody can buy Telangana land from outside. That was also there as a part of the agreement. Nobody should buy the Telangana land. But all that was violated. All those things were violated. And after 69, then when Mrs. Gandhi went for land reforms, at least, although on paper, let me put it, land reforms, nationalization of banks, when she came, Andhra region was affected. Because once she spoke of land reform. So there was Jai Andhra agitation. They wanted a separate state from Telangana. That was anti-Mrs. Gandhi agitation. And land reforms anyway were put on the back burner. That's another history, part of the history. Then Telangana people said, when they want to separate, we want to separate, why don't you create 2 separate states? But no, Mrs. Gandhi said no. Anyway, that, apart, the Green Revolution and the Krishna Godavari Anicut has decided deeply the politics, economy and culture. See, of both the regions. Cinema culture, for example, cinema came extensively. But very interestingly, the Telugu cinema for a long time was mythological. Ramayana, Mahabharata, any mythological story, there is a movie. And N.T. Ramarao was the main actor. Rama, Krishna, Duryodhana, Karna, he acted all mythological characters. And he became very popular. And this bifurcation demand, the Andhra region thought one way of opening is revive the Telugu identity. The Telugu identity in 1916 came back in 1980s. Then N.T. Ramarao was very popular, and Congress by then was losing its base. Of course, I have another major analysis. I will not go into that because time will not be enough. But what happened that once this demand came, the Telugu identity, because the Congress was continuously governing. 1977, everywhere Congress lost, except Karnataka and Andhra Pradesh. Mrs. Gandhi came back. And of course, Mrs. Gandhi came back because Andhra, somehow for some reason, there were very good bureaucrats. Shankaran, Yugandhar, K.R. Venugopal, Yamar, there were such a decent bureaucrats. During emergency, there were no excesses in this part, not many excesses. Even some of us were to be arrested. But the district collector called me, I was in Warangal. District collector said, no, see, there is likely some action against you because your name also is, I was still a lecturer. I said, why my name is there? No, see, in the classrooms, you are critical and all that. So then he said, very interestingly, he gave me giving license of cement, to me, that power, because cement was scarce. So there used to be a big queue in front of my house, and I used to give licenses for cement. I told the collector, what have I to do with cement? He said, for some time you do it. If you want to avoid arrest, this is only the way you can do that. What I am saying is, this part, emergency did not have the type of thing that happened in North India. And the good bureaucrats, they have used the power and did lot of welfare programs. And that's why Mrs. Gandhi came back. Even today, last week we had a satyagraha for water for Mahbubnagar. Even after 10 years we are fighting. So one lady came from village, she says, I want Indiramma Raj. Indiramma. Still Indira Gandhi is popular in this part of the region. Now, this 1969 agitation to 1983, Telangana, Telugu Desam Party and N.T. Ramarao. Of course, N.T. Ramarao was very popular. And my mother also was a great admirer of N.T. Ramarao. She was campaigning for N.T. Ramarao. My 2 children who are very young, now both of them are academics, but too young, they were started campaigning for N.T. Ramarao. So I said, what happened? The whole Telangana was, and he won with a massive majority. But what happened in the case of N.T. Ramarao is also very interesting. He gave 2 rupees rice. Even today people remember, welfare program, 2 rupees rice scheme. But he liberalized liquor. He was getting 800 crores from liquor, but he was spending 280 crores on 2 rupees rice scheme. You have taken away the money from the poor people and spent on the welfare, and their life standards were deteriorating. And violence against women increased. And therefore, N.T. Ramarao didn't get second term. He lost the election. Congress came back. So of course, these processes happened. But then, by 2000, by 1996, Chandrababu Naidu came. Of course, NTR was thrown out. But by 1996, demand for separate Telangana revived. This time, it is a totally different Telangana movement. Peaceful, there is no violence. In the first time, 300 boys died. In the second time, number of people committed suicide, but there was no violence. See, it's a totally different character. What happened to Telangana movement? First time it was militant, this time completely peaceful. Peaceful to a point where children would die, leaving a note and all that. So a lot of suicides happened. And the entire movement, Telangana movement, there were 2 streams. I wrote a paper in EPW then, Telangana People's Movement, see the socio-political dimension. So what happened during the Telangana movement, there were 2 streams. One is democratic Telangana, which Sukumar was referring to, and one was geographical Telangana. Professor Kodandaram and Professor Jayashankar, this is also one major difference. 1969 education was completely political, in the hands of politicians. I don't know whether Telangana people learnt a lesson. The second time Telangana movement, it is to the credit of perhaps academics that Dr. Jayashankar, who is an academic, was an ideologue, and Kodandaram, who is a professor, was also my student, was the chairman of Political Joint Action Committee. Can't remember, all political parties accept an academic as a chairman. It's striking that an academic should lead the politicians. Politician never normally agrees to that. But because political parties thought that their credibility is very low, academics' credibility is high. And therefore, say when there were some kidnaps, I handled 3 kidnaps by Maoists. So once after handling a kidnap, I went to UGC. UGC chairman said, Dekho Hargopal ji, one day or other, when the society is in a conflict, academic will be involved in resolving the crisis. This is the credit to the academic world. So academic world, because of our credibility, our integrity, whatever is there, our commitment, society has always a respect for the academic. But when I wrote this article in EPW on Telangana movement, I said there are manipulative politics, there are committed politics. Telangana has these 2 streams. Which politics will take over after Telangana comes? To our utter surprise, manipulative politics have overtaken. One, Jayashankar died, and Kodand has been marginalized. Now we get Telangana with lot of hopes. I used to write a column, for the present Chief Minister's newspaper. He himself wanted me to write a column. I wrote for 3 years a column, a weekly column. Wrote so extensively on Telangana, what Telangana should do. Once Telangana comes, what we should do on education, on health, on transport, on communication, on women, on Dalits, on Adivasis. What should the type of Telangana we should create? I said that we should create a model Telangana for the rest of the country. This was the academics' ambition or academics' dreams. Maybe sometimes we are dreamers. So therefore, you started talking about that. This politics have taken over. But to our great, surprise or shock, whatever, the land-grabbing class, the mafia, the liquor mafia, the land mafia, sand mafia, education mafia, health mafia. This is the tragedy of Telangana. What has happened was the genuine sections of those who participated in the movement got marginalized. Now, one major part of, while discussing Telangana, what one should also know is that during Nizam, 20 kilometers radius of Hyderabad is government land. No other city no other state has as much of government land as Telangana has. Because Nawabs left after partition with palaces, with huge land, and Nizam himself had Sarfe Khas, which is known direct land under the government. And this government land was one thing where all our nations, all defense organizations, Sikrisat, NIA, look at the government institutions. Hyderabad has maximum central institution because whenever central government proposed, they ask who will give land. Bombay can't give, Madras can't give because they're all sea. There is ocean, there is a sea. We don't have a sea where not every side you can go on expanding. So they started giving land. Hyderabad University, 2,000 acres of land. Of course, for Urdu University, the then education minister came. I was also, Professor Mehta, Gordon Mehta was there. And minister and the education secretary came saying that a part of the land we should give to Urdu University. Then Professor Mehta said, number one, university is a landscape and we should have huge land, number one. University is not just buildings and students' horizon is decided by the landscape. So the one thing Mehta said. Second, he thinks that on the same campus, two central universities do not make any sense. So he said, you find some other land. Why do you want Hyderabad University land for Urdu University? Anyway, thanks to the then minister and the education secretary, so they just accepted. Vice Chancellor said, Mr. Vice Chancellor, if you do not want to part with the land, we'll find some. Now this is not possible. Any secretary from, not secretary, clerk can come from the ministry and take away the land. The complete power structure has changed. Today, any word from the ministry, any word from the UGC, several times we fought with UGC. Many recommendations made by UGC, we used to say, no, we will not do. It's not acceptable. Vice Chancellor used to write, UGC used to accept. My own teacher was UGC vice chairman. He used to say, dealing with central is so difficult. He said they would not accept anything from UGC. This is what he as a chairman he used to say, what to do with your central universities? State universities listen to us because they need some reason. Central universities feel completely autonomous, will not accept anything from UGC. Used to come sometimes request universities, please accept this in your own interest. So the character of the system anyway. But then what has happened here is that education, I will just give one and I will stop. Look at education. I am a part of the Save Education movement, All India Forum for Right to Education. This chief minister, after he became chief minister, he sent a word for me. Twice I met him. Then after that I stopped. Once I met in a friend's house. And he asked me, Hargopalji, what should we do in Telangana? I said, sir, I wrote extensively on your paper, what we should do. But one thing I am immediately suggesting, anyway you said KG to PG, free education. That was the slogan of Telangana. But do one thing, on agriculture, you put a commission, because Telangana agriculture suffered enormously. And second, you put a commission for Hyderabad land, how to protect the land of Hyderabad. Both he did not do. But anyway, he sought my advice and later he said whether I would be an advisory committee member. I said, no. I said, whenever you want advice, I will come. But I don't want to be part of advisory committee. Because you lose, he may give me a car and all that. That's the end of your credibility, your end of, completely you are lost once you go closer to that type of power. But KG to PG free education, I went to him because from the Save Education Committee, I am the General Secretary, I went to him. Said, sir, since this is your promise for education, kindly see that education becomes one of the frontier concerns of Telangana. Right. But I must place it on record that Telangana, one of the most neglected as far as education is concerned. Usman University, one faculty, two faculty. I mean, when I used to be Usman University student, you must see my subject, of course, was a dry subject. I was not a political science student, I was a public administration student. But the best journals of the world, Administrative Science Quarterly, International Review of Trial Institute, all these journals used to come. Today you go to Usman University library, 3 or 4 Indian journals come, that's all. What happened to Usman University? That was one of the leading universities. I told him, sir, Usman University, when I was a student, one of the leading 5 universities of the country. Revive the glory of Usman University. Telangana should be proud. Second thing, of course, I told him, don't interfere in University of Hyderabad. It's a part of a composite culture. See, MANUU and Hyderabad University, many people who come from the other parts of the country, sir, you yourself would experience, you don't feel stranger in Hyderabad. You feel a part of this composite culture. When you go to Madras or when you go to there, you feel you are still a stranger in Chennai. But you do not feel that you are a stranger, because all my faculty members who come from different parts of the country, in University of Hyderabad, they settle down. They settle down because they don't find any problem with Hyderabad city. This has a composite culture. And that Muslim and Hindu culture is so mingled. This is one of the best, finest cultural product. So the point, therefore, I am saying is that Hyderabad had this composite culture, Hyderabad had a democratic culture, Hyderabad had democratic movements, and we thought Hyderabad should offer the education in such a way that perhaps it should become an education hub of the country. But instead, Usman University just collapsed. And my university, say, I went to Rajshekar Reddy to demand for a university in Mahbubnagar. He said, all right, we'll give one university. You know, sir, what is the budget of Mahbubnagar University? 8 crores. 8 crores university budget last 10 years. And 8 faculty members, the rest of them 20 faculty members, university. Go to Delhi, I think Sukumar would know, I used to go on MAC work. I went to one college, 300 faculty members in a college. And he is a university with 20 faculty. Now what is this happening? Completely gone, no recruitment of teachers, and budget has come down from 12% in the combined state to 6% for the education budget. No recruitment of teachers, no recruitment of university faculty. This is one part. Why Telangana has, is experiencing this, is a different question, one can go on debating, but this is what happened. But the positive part of Telangana is one, for last 10 years they maintained communal harmony. I give a compliment to this government that they have not allowed any communal clashes. And Chandrasekhar Raut speaks very good Chase Urdu. Well, he speaks wonderful Urdu. And somehow he said the composite culture of Hyderabad and Telangana should be protected. Ganga, Jamuna, Tahajib, or whatever you may call. But that is there, one. Second, if you look at the state domestic product, this is one of the highest. Per capita income of Telangana is on the top. Agricultural production definitely has gone up. We now produce 1 crore 20 lakhs tons of rice. Now we don't have place to warehouses and all that. There is a problem. But definitely water resources. Although Krishna remains the same contested river. In fact, the whole Telangana movement was built around Krishna water. But finally, the share of the water in Krishna has not increased. Till now, the matter is not settled. Now again, there is a fight going on in the Supreme Court. Now again, a commission is looking into the question of Krishna. 10 years, we have not done anything. And our Mahbubnagar, Palamur Rangareddy project, which KCR said would be his top priority, instead, in the middle of the construction, he went to Kaleshwaram, which is a project on Godavari. Yes, Kaleshwaram has quite a bit of water because it's on Godavari. But what happened to Krishna? Entire Telangana movement was around Krishna. So the Krishna river still remains neglected. We were fighting for last 20 years as a Mahbubnagar person, and again, only 15 days back, we had to observe 30 hours dharna for our share in the legitimate share of water in the Krishna river. So on the economic front, in agriculture, we have done reasonably well. Communal harmony, we have done well, right? Hyderabad has attracted quite a bit of capital. Although this capital essentially is pharmaceutical, or it is the IT, basically, these are all service sectors. But pharmaceutical industry causes its own havoc, and you can go to Patancheru and those areas, there are problems. But on economic development, this 10 years registered a significant progress. But if you look at human development, poverty, inequalities, unemployment, education, health, infrastructure, I think we are on the lowest. All the surveys are saying that Telangana is doing very poorly on education, on health, on employment, on poverty, but economic development is there. The question is, neoliberalism is basically, intrinsically, it's an acquisitive model. It widens inequality all over the world. That's what happened even in America. Now, America produced a Trump. He's a product of neoliberalism. Neoliberalism produces funny leaders. Putin. In Russia, very strange leaders. The character of economy decides also character of politics. So therefore, you have finally this situation where Telangana today is economically developed, but human development, we are on the low ebb. And I think this is the present Telangana. Now, what will happen in the next elections? This distortion of the model of development may lead to some shift in the political choices of the people, which is possible. That within 1.5 months will be known. After election, we can have one more seminar in MANUU discussing what happened in elections. Right? Thank you very much, sir, for this opportunity.
Thank you very much, sir. Now, to take these events to its culmination, I move towards our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Enur Hassan, sir. Sir is an authority on contemporary Persian literature, Indo-Iranian relations, India-Central relations, and Indology. So your addresses and interventions in various seminars have truly transcended barriers of disciplines. Sir, I request you to please.
Professor Hargopal, Professor Farida Siddiqui, Professor Sukumar, Professor Afroz Alam, Nageshwar Rao ji, friends, colleagues, girls and boys. You were listening to very broad analysis of socio-political, socio-economic dimensions of Telangana, and a case study of Hyderabad also. Rivers, agriculture, historical perspective, political changes occurring now and then, and still waiting for the election result in the days to follow. Well, frankly speaking, I'm far, far away from these subjects. And, well, Professor Hargopal, you have given few terms. I'm neither a communist, nor a Razakar, nor a Congressee. No, all three, are really debarred from my dictionary. But yes, we are human beings and we observe certain things, whether from close quarters or from a distance. What we, from outside Telangana, what we feel that yes, you rightly pointed out, during emergency, when northern India, was deadly against Congress and particularly Mrs. Gandhi, whereas in southern part of India, she was elevated to the highest rank. This was a major conflict, and the conflict of ideas also. As I said, I am not a political scientist nor a sociologist and nor like Professor Farida to do economics. But yes, we understand what Professor Hargopal suggested. We understand cinema. Yes. Now I don't know which you called. This is neither Bollywood nor Hollywood. Maybe Tollywood. Yes. All Banjara Hills and then the Jubilee Hills are occupied by these people, in fact. And we are confronting with so many restaurants. So this is happening, but yes, very interesting. Rama Rao, who was a hero of, all-time great. N.T. Rama Rao. He acted in so many films. And you recall, his figure, was not fitting into the heroes of present generation. He was a legend, and then impressing upon large crowd of people, in fact. They were storming to see his movies. And what exactly happened in other states also, you see. Jayalalitha, who was acting in Hindi and some South Indian films, but later on she emerged as a great politician. So she was really a great politician, very articulate person. So South of India has given some leaders, really. Their contributions are recorded in the history. It's not that you should just see their surface value, rather in depth. They really did something. And then later on, after Rama Rao, Chandrababu Naidu. It's very irony today what we see that Chandrababu Naidu is driven away from Telangana. Don't you feel pity? No, I don't know. Because he was the person behind this vision. IT today, what you see here, financial district, it was his vision, including this university. The land was given by Chandrababu Naidu. And what is happening today? Osmania, you are talking about Osmania University. Now in this university, there is a kind of, discriminatory attitude going on. Ours is a central university. Although, there is very bad treatment with Osmania University, which is a state university, and, it was established in 1919 by Usman Ali. And Usman Ali was, such a man, who brought a vice-chancellor, first vice-chancellor from Aligarh, Sherwani Sahab. So now what we see, that there's no subsidy given to the central government, a university of central government. And that's how we are paying heavily on electricity and water. They have no mercy upon us. But there's a long list of admissions. They always say our people should be given admissions. But we are not cut off from academic institutions, but we are totally cut off from the political institutions of Telangana. Now, we maintain our identity. There are certain other factors also why we are maintaining our own identity. You must be having one opinion, we have several other opinions also. But look at, as you said, per capita income, it's very high, pretty high. And then rate of literacy is very high. You can say fifth or fourth, in India. 75% male literacy and somewhat around 55% female literacy. More than that, it's around 60% now. I don't know, I don't collect data, these economists, they collect, but जो ये बोलते हैं ना, उसी सुन के हम बोल देते हैं. And Mehboob Nagar, there is the highest rate of literacy in Mehboob Nagar. So this is, you were talking about, there is nothing like, institutional propriety maintained in Mehboob Nagar, but Mehboob Nagar is the highest rate of literacy. And you should appreciate that we are also maintaining a balance of rate of literacy, male and female both. And very soon we are going to touch upon 40-60 ratio. This is, you can't imagine in other states. And in other universities also, you can't imagine. This is Maulana Azad National Urdu University. We are and very rightly you pointed out, Sir Fazle Ali, his house was in Varanasi, and who was, appointed by none other than Jawaharlal Nehru, for a linguistic, on the question of linguistic state, in fact, a linguistic identity also. But he did it in several other states also. Do you have any knowledge about it? Even in Assam, he was the person, in fact, and very, very enlightened person, who gave direction to Government of India. And then his recommendations were accepted by the Indian Parliament. So he was a man, in fact, and later on he retired as Chief Justice, of Assam. Now, Green Revolution, Green Revolution is going. First, I think, why don't you keep the mirror of Maulana Azad National Urdu University when you discuss the rest of Telangana, what I say, the greenest campus on earth. But I am surprised, a lot of millets are produced cultivated in Telangana. But you are still not going for a campaign that these outlets, they don't bother about millet, millet products. Whereas go to the villages and you will find people are dying for millet bread, and millet products. So this is how you see campaign is missing. Now, Krishna, Godavari, these questions will go on, in fact, group after group, political group after political group, but there is no solution at all, as we see in case of, other states where, conflict is going on. Something happens and then everything goes in vain. Sir, I know that I have seen Hyderabad, at least, through my naked eyes. Right from 1984, in fact, I have seen during my several visits to Hyderabad, and adjacent areas also, I have been to. But yes, here you will find a real cosmopolitan culture where it's very difficult to make out someone's real identity. This is something great. And that's how you can feel at ease in Hyderabad. Go to the mall. Go to the ordinary markets. You will not see any kind of discrimination against anybody. That's how you see we should maintain it. It's a boon which you will not find in other places. I am telling you today, go and see what is happening. And then, I don't know to what extent, because the motto of Telangana is Satyamev Jayate. The logo you just see is Satyamev Jayate, in fact, which is a very common slogan. But Satya, I don't know to what extent these Satya is maintained here. And I have seen this Rashtrapati Nilayam, this very, yes. So myself and Professor Rao of Hyderabad, Vice Chancellor Hyderabad Central University, last visited, in fact, Hyderabad. These are too courteous. Then each and every room, arch and arches were shown and explained that, look, here you will find one eye and a dot, and which is very, and it took 4 hours for us to understand each and every, component of Rashtrapati Nilayam. Because Hyderabadis, they are feeling, that, yes, these strangers must know what we are. I mean, this is the quality of these people of Hyderabad, in fact, that they don't give up. They say, okay, I will take you right up to the highest level. But my regret is that, and a very good combination of various type of people here. Swaminathan, you say, we don't admire Swaminathan, but otherwise, somehow. Per capita also, you mentioned. But I will end up by saying, Urdu is our concern. And more than 75% people in Telangana speak Telugu. Whereas Urdu is speaking plus 12%. Good enough? Good enough, Ratnakarji? Hindi, 1.55. But that doesn't mean, you try to develop your Hindi department. Okay. The last time, the parliamentary committee came and they said, why don't you implement 100%? Azan Saab, 60% Hindi you have implemented. I said, had it been in northern India, I would have implemented 150%. But here this is South India, where you have to keep, all other languages and dialects alive and keep them along. So therefore, 60%, no, we appreciate it, they started clapping. Because they should understand the reasons, in fact. Because they don't understand. These politicians, they have very little, I don't say it. And you know what happened? एक साहब कह रहे थे कि लोग हैदराबाद उर्दू यहीं से पैदा हुई. उधर दूसरे साहब सुन रहे थे, मेरे को तो मालूम नहीं कि उर्दू यहीं से पैदा हुई, मेरे को ये मालूम है कि उर्दू यहीं शहीद हुई. So I think it is up to you. You are better judge. Audience will appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Now I request my colleague Dr. Shabana Farheen for a vote of thanks. Please come.
Good afternoon, each and everyone. Now this is time to give vote of thanks. First, I would like to say a few words. When Sir Hargopal sir is talking about a keynote address, he has said about production, power and culture. Definitely, sir, economic, politics and society, when it comes together, then only we can see the changes in the society. So what I can say is that, sir, Sukumar sir was saying about that we are not getting the data. But I will say that one encyclopedia, living encyclopedia in Telangana is here. Why can't we get the data, that one? It is there. So he is the person, I can say that one. It is a proud moment for all of us that the whole history of Telangana has been put in front of us within few minutes. We are very thankful to you, sir. I would like to say thanks to our Honorable VC. Sir has given us a very words related to the South Indian leadership, how it has contributed to the literature, cinema and all. And also the vision of Chandrababu Naidu, where we are standing today. And most of us, the youngsters, we don't know about Chandrababu Naidu also, because we belong to the different states. We won't read much about this one. And the vision, what he has created and what we are standing in front of here today. And also he has pinpointed the mixed identity and how we people are mixed and we living together. I really very thankful to you, sir, for providing us such a wonderful talk. With this short time and with few words, Ishtiaq sir, our registrar, has presented and appreciated the young scholars who are participating in this seminar. In his absence, I thank him a lot for this. And also, our guest of honor, Professor Sukumar sir, I'll say that one, that what the state was, what it is, and what it ought to be. As political science student, we study about this statement. And sir has given the same thing, that what the 10 years back, what the Telangana was, and what it is now, and what it will be after 10 years, what he is seeing. And the vision of social justice, what he has mentioned, I really appreciate you for all those words what you have given, sir. Thank you very much for these words. And the next one is, I would say that Professor Farida Siddiqui ma'am, our dean. So, madam, as a political economy, what you have spoken about, that is really think that what we have to come together, and we have to think that politics and also economy, how the development will take place together, and the governance, how the governance will take place. Without these two, it won't happen. So the development of the state has to happen along with the economy and also political system. What you have given the words, thank you very much, ma'am. And also, the great person behind all these things, the wheels of this program has been started long back, and the force behind this is none other than our HOD, Professor Afroz Alam sir. I appreciate you for giving all the introduction. And also the coordinator, Professor A. Nageshwar Rao, who has worked very hard, and we are seeing the result today. And most of the thing is the patient audience, and also the dignitaries of the dais, all from different departments who has come, and also very patiently who are sitting is our students from BA level to the PG level, and also PhD level students are sitting here. I thank you each and everyone, and also the media person, and also the office staff from our department who has helped to bring out this program very well successful. Thank you very much, sir. Also for Muzaffar sir for comparing this one. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, ma'am. We will end this session with the national anthem. I request everyone to please stand up for the national anthem.